Hey everybody, how is everyone doing today? Hope you guys are being safe and sound. Today, wanted to talk about the topic, the title, excuse me, of today's message is accessory to murder. We know what that means in the legal sense. You helped in causing your action or inaction caused someone to die, so you are now an accessory to murder. Uh, the Bible says that bad company corrupts good character. The people around you can affect you. I'm going to start off with an example, so please use your imagination. I usually do this in person, but use your imagination for this. Imagine that you're standing on a chair. A chair's on the ground, you're standing on top of it, and then someone walks by. Imagine trying to pull that person that's walking by up onto the chair with you. Now, without them helping you, you have to do all the work. It'd be pretty impossible to do so, right? Now imagine that you're standing on a chair and someone comes along and they try to pull you down. It's pretty easy for them to do that. It's always easy to pull someone down, a lot easier to pull someone down than it is to pull someone up. But just because it is hard doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But if you have someone in your life whose life is destructive, they have destructive habits, they are dying slowly, their actions are leading them to death spiritually, if not death physically. If you don't say anything, if you don't do anything, then you are an accessory to murder. There is a mantra that I try to live by. It says, if good men do nothing, then that is evil enough. It's sort of a play on words of Edmund Burke's famous quote of, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I don't want to be one of those quote unquote good men that do nothing. I was watching a video yesterday that Arnold Schwarzenegger posted, and I'm not getting political. He was very political in his video, but I want to reference just something of it, not talking about any of the current events that are going on. But he talked about, growing up in Austria and his father and other people that he knew, other parents that he knew that were soldiers in the Nazi army, and just the despair and the brokenness that they lived with after the war was over. Because, and he says they didn't believe in this thing, but they were following the orders. They were following to torture and kill and do all these bad things because that's what they were told to do. Now they have to live with it. And he just talked about how broken they were and how they struggled with alcoholism, just because of that, because they knew in their hearts what they were doing was wrong. I don't want to be a good man that does nothing in the face of evil, in the face of sin, in the face of someone's life, someone that I love going down a terrible path. We have to speak up. We lose our power to speak up when we don't speak up. We have to call out the bad fruit. That's what we're called to do. Let's see. We're going to go on to this verse. It says, if you falter in times of trouble, how small is your strength? Rescue those being led away to death. Hold back those staggering toward slaughter. Sorry about my pause there. That's from Proverbs. So are you helping someone to heaven or helping someone to hell? I want to tell you a physical death story. It's about someone whose friends allowed him to die. The story is about Uriah on the front line. So in this story, King David has taken Uriah's wife and she has gotten pregnant. David wants to hide this pregnancy, so he has Uriah come back from battle. So the goal is for Uriah to come home, go to his house, and then he can say, oh, and Uriah came home. He obviously slept with his wife. That's why his wife is pregnant. But Uriah is too loyal to go home to his wife. He stays at the palace. He stays by David's side. David doesn't want scandal, so he comes up with a plan. And sorry for the quick synopsis. I know that you guys know this story, but I want to focus on a key part here. In 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 14 through 17. In the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it with Uriah. In it he wrote, put Uriah in the front line where the fighting is fiercest. Then withdraw from him so he will be struck down and die. So while Joab had the city under siege, he put Uriah at a place where he knew the strongest defenders were. When the men of the city came out and fought against Joab, some of the men in David's army fell. Moreover, Uriah the Hittite died. So David gives Uriah this letter and says, go give this to the general. In the letter it says, put Uriah in the front line, have everyone pull away so that he dies. Uriah, again, is so loyal that he doesn't even read the letter because he's so loyal to the king. And what does the Bible say? It says that the order comes down, and what do those other soldiers do? Those men that Uriah was thinking about while he was at home, because he said, my friends are at home, my fellow soldiers, they're in battle, they don't get home cooked meals, they don't get to be with their wives. I'm not going to go do that because I'm thinking of them. When it came time for everything to happen, they pulled away. It doesn't say that there was any apprehension. It doesn't say there's any conflict. It doesn't say that there was any hesitation. The Bible doesn't mention it. Is this how you are with your friends, or is this how your friends are with you? That in the midst of a battle, you pull away and allow them to succumb to the attack. You know, we let them deal with their issues in private. Like, oh, they're going through something. Let me just give them some time alone. These soldiers, they grew up with Uriah. They went to school with Uriah. They played basketball with Uriah. But when it came time, what did they do? They left him to die. How many of our friends are we leaving to die spiritually? We just draw back while they're getting destroyed by the attack of the dark forces or their own issues internally. You know, in the American church, we love to blame everything on the enemy. The devil, the devil, the devil. A lot of times, it's our own issues that are causing a lot of these things to happen. Are you like Job's friends, giving them poor advice, giving them poor spiritual advice? Some of us in the church give bad spiritual advice all the time, and then we use the Bible to justify it. We twist the scripture, say half of it to make it seem like it's good. Are you an accessory to this crime of murder? Of this person breaking the commandments, breaking the law? Or are you sharing hope? That's the simple thing of, the way to simplify what we're supposed to do as Christians. We're supposed to be sharing hope with others. If you had a friend that is in a burning house, so imagine you go to their house and you notice that there's a fire, but they're unaware of the fire. Would you or would you not warn them that their house is on fire? Shouldn't you let them know about the potential fire hazards in their house? Same way what we should be doing spiritually. If we see that our friends are on fire spiritually, we need to let them know that their house is on fire spiritually. We need to let them know about the fire hazards in their lives. But not only with our friends, but where we go to church. What are they preaching about? We have pastors that preach that there's no hell, there's no heaven. They say God's mercy endureth forever. They love to use that line of God's grace and God's mercy. But tell the people of Sodom and Gomorrah that God's mercy endureth forever. Tell the people who died in the times of Noah that there's grace abound. His mercy endureth up until the door of the ark closing. The important aspect is our faith levels. That's the important aspect of how much faith do you have? Do you have faith to move the mountain? Because some of us have what I like to call microwave faith. We want it quick. If it doesn't happen quick, then I can't believe. Or there's no God, because what I believed for at this moment didn't happen. Some of us want Thanksgiving-style dinner faith, but want it done in the microwave. We want Thanksgiving-style blessings with microwave-style faith. I don't want to belong to a microwave church. I want to be part of an oven-baked church. Speaking of our friends and our people around us, our friends and our loved ones are supposed to help carry the things that we're going through, help to carry our burdens. So many times in our lives, we want to carry our cross, our metaphorical cross, on our own. Or we will watch someone else struggle while they carry theirs, but we're supposed to be their friends, we're supposed to be their loved ones, while we watch them struggle. Let's look at a story of carrying a cross in Luke chapter 23, verse 26. As they led him away, meaning Jesus, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. This guy Simon, who we know nothing about outside of being from Cyrene, outside of being from northern Africa, Simon was minding his own business. He was just going to the store. And on the way back from the store, they're like, you, come here. He'll carry this cross. They forced him to carry the cross with Jesus. If Jesus needed help carrying his cross, who in the world do you think you are to carry yours by yourself? Now this is Jesus. Let's just forget for a moment that this is the person whom all things were created. Now the Bible tells us that Jesus was a carpenter. This is not the first time that Jesus has had to carry wood. This is before the days of Black & Decker. He was Black & Decker. But he was also just beaten viciously. And Simon helped him. Stop trying to carry your cross by yourself after you've been beaten up. It's about who is around you. Who do you have around you? Will they speak up if you are to say something that is unpopular? Let's look at the story of Joshua and Caleb in Numbers 13, 26 to 30. They came back. These are the spies that went out to look at the promised land. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account. We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the Negev. The Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we certainly can do it. So everyone has this negative report, but Caleb has an unpopular opinion. We hear about Joshua more than Caleb, but it was Caleb who was the first one to say something. Now Joshua was probably better looking or a better speaker or a better leader or something about him that had him stand apart. But Joshua and Caleb had each other's backs. They both spoke up about what they could go and do. In the midst of a potential battle, not just with the occupants of the promised land, but also with their own people that came with a negative report, they spoke up. Do you have your friends back when they speak up? Or are you going to be with the rest of the popular crowd? I would like you to read the conclusion of this story in Numbers chapter 14. It talks about how Joshua and Caleb said, if God said he was going to give it to us, then we will get it. I came across this quote that says, sometimes the people that you look out for are sometimes the people that you should look out for. So sometimes we're looking out trying to help people, but sometimes those people that we are trying to help out and trying to look out for are the people that don't have our best interests at hand. Those are the people that would put us in a bad situation. Those are the people that would, quote unquote, stab us in the back. We need to be taking inventory of the people that we have around us. Sometimes we need to improve the people that we have around us. Sometimes we need to remove the people that we have around us. So it's either improve or remove the people around you. We choose some people to be in our circles that should not be in there because they don't have our best interests. Do you have friends that are worth going to battle with? Joshua later on became the leader of the Israelites, and they went to battle with some people, with the people of Jericho. It was important that the people Joshua had with him had the same level of faith required. We know the story of the walls of Jericho, how they crashed down. They walked around the walls of the city 7 times, and on the 7th time they yelled and blew trumpets and the walls fell down. Each time they walked around, they got a good picture of that wall. You need to get a good picture of the wall that you're facing. Each time you see your problem, you get a good picture of it. The first time they walked around those walls, they saw how big it was. They saw how fortified it was. You see how big your problem is. The second time they walked around, they saw how strong it was. You see your problem, and you see how strong it is. The third time they walked around those walls, they noticed how small they were compared to the wall. You see your problem and you see how small you are compared to it. That's a lot of times our biggest problem with having strong faith, is seeing how small we are compared to the problem. The fourth time around the wall, they see the markings of previous people that try to take the wall down. You see your problem. You see how it took down people in similar situations. You see how it has affected your uncle or your father or your grandparents or people in your family lineage that have struggled with that same problem. You see those same battle marks. But then something starts to change. The fifth time around, they remember how big their God is. You see your problem, and you need to see how big your God is. You see how big your problem is, you see how big your God is. The sixth time around the wall, they realize how strong their God is. You see your problem, you see how big it is, you see how big your God is. The seventh time around, they notice that those people that attacked that wall previously weren't successful because they didn't have God on their side. Those previous people that struggle with something that you're seeing, you need to understand they don't have God on their, you have God on your side, so you can overcome it. You see your problem. You realize you have God on your side. Stop telling God how big the wall is in your life and tell the wall how big your God is. Make sure you have friends that have the same mindset and the same level of faith, and make sure you have the right mindset as well. I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you next week. Bye.